I think it fell in there. Welcome to an American Homestead, podcasting live from deep within the Ozark Mountains at an elevation of 2,200 feet It's 10 p.m. Eastern and 9 Central, and it's good to be back. So, got a lot of whole stack of stuff this week. Jamie is with me as always, and just want to give a quick shout out to all the Homestead channels on the homesteadnetwork.com. If you're interested in more amazing Homestead channels, you can go to the homesteadnetwork.com and go to their show times and see all of the channels listed there and what days they play. The links there will give you direct access to their channels and allow you to subscribe. It is amazingly warm for January right now.
Yeah, it's warm. I got so much laundry done this week. Normally in January, we just kind of hang out on our sheets without washing them because, January is not a great month for hanging sheets and towels and stuff on the line, so we just kind of get by. But I actually washed all of that in January this year.
Yeah, and I think everything is just wrong right now with the weather. I think one of the other Homestead channels tonight was talking about it. It's 50 degrees right now. We're in northwest Arkansas, 50 degrees in the Ozark Mountains. And this show is being powered by generator power. For the last 3 or 4 days, we have not had very much, if any, sunshine. So it's days like this, times like this, where you're just running on, generator power. You have to go out there. We start it like twice a day. Once usually sometime in the morning and once usually sometime in the evening. Right now it's running because we're on the show, and I didn't run it this evening yet. So this is the evening run, and it's usually later than normal. But
yeah, solar power is great till you don't get the sun.
Yeah, then you've got to put the generator on. So that's what we're doing right now. The generator is up and going, and that's what we're doing to get by here. So let's see what else. Listen, folks, if you're interested in these podcasts, if you're just tuning in for the first time, and you like listening to the show, but you don't want to watch the video or YouTube, a lot of people ask how they can download the show. All you need to do is go to your favorite browser and type in MP3 YouTube download or YouTube MP3 downloader, and there's lots of applications, lots of programs and ways where you can download these podcasts in MP3 format. And that way, you can put them on your car, on a thumb drive or something, and listen to them in your car on the way to work or whatever. So a lot of people have asked about that, so we're just going to keep mentioning it. If you want to listen to our show in podcast form, MP3 form, there's lots of ways to do that. You just have to search for the YouTube downloader that you want to use in your favorite browser, and then just transfer it to your iPhone or your Samsung Galaxy or whatever gadget that you have, and listen to it that way. What did we do this week? You're looking at Pinterest again, right?
Yeah.
That's her. It's not advice. It's just that's her thing.
Yeah, I love Pinterest. There's no drama going on Pinterest like there is on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook is just a mess. I get on Facebook. I post on Facebook because, it's a great way to share with people what we're doing, with the Homestead. And but you'll notice my page, my actually personal page, does not see a lot of postings because there's just too much nonsense.
Yeah, I'm finishing up the living room this week, I think, and this time of year I feel like so this is a pet peeve of mine that I'm just gonna share with you because it really has become a pet peeve.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so you know how in the spring everyone, you see posts about spring cleaning, like it's time to spring clean. Okay, so spring cleaning usually in these posts means that you dig out your closet and you get rid of stuff and you organize, and that's your spring cleaning. Okay, so spring cleaning has become organization, which I think is crazy because why is that a spring thing? It shouldn't be a spring thing. Organization should be a winter thing, where something that you do when you're stuck inside. So I do that.
Well, doesn't spring cleaning come from the fact that you've been stuck inside all winter long and now you're getting out and cleaning everything?
Yes, spring cleaning means that you take everything out generally what they used to do was they would take their rugs outside, beat their rugs. They would open all the windows, air out the house. They would scrub their floors while their rugs and probably their furniture too was outside. A lot of soot had collected in the house from their wood fires, things like that. That was spring cleaning. It was not getting rid of and organizing.
Okay.
So I think that wintertime is the best time for organizing because you're stuck inside. You're generally not doing garden things and canning and doing a lot of stuff like that. So inside, wintertime, I think, is the time that you organize and take care of household chores.
Okay. That's what she does best.
Yeah. I like the winter for that. I think winter sometimes has become my favorite time of year because I really am an inside person and I function really well inside.
I'm starting off the show with a nice cup of new tea that we ordered. It's called Lapsang. I don't know if anybody's ever tried this, but if you remember our season, it was season 3, episode 6 with Lyndon and Charlotte. Wasn't it? This was last year, right? Season 3, episode 6. I'm pretty sure that's it. Lyndon and Charlotte, when they're building their house, they're building their cabin in the woods. It's a mansion in the woods. And so I went back over there to help them put up some trusses recently, and they offered me a tea. And they're from England, jolly old England, and they offered me a tea. And so I said, what kind you got? I don't know what's good. I'm a coffee kind of guy, but they had tea, so I said, okay. And they said, oh, there's a manly tea called Lapsang, and it's a smoked tea. I said, well, that sounds interesting. I like smoked things. And so basically what it is tea leaves smoked over pine needles, and I think it's delicious.
It's a black tea. He wanted me to try some. He's drinking it right now, but
It smells good.
I don't generally drink black tea just because I love to drink tea in the evenings, and it has caffeine.
It's got a little caffeine in it, but it's not going to be enough I only poured me like half a cup.
Okay.
But it won't keep me up all night, hopefully. And it's really good tea. So this week we had like microphone problems.
Somebody says manly tea.
Well, I think of most teas, like hoity-toity Brits, Earl Grey. Earl Grey just sounds like a wuss tea.
Yeah, it does. I know.
I mean, it's just, but this was manly tea. I mean,
Patrick Stewart drank it.
Well, he's kind of, I don't know, is he manly?
He was the captain of the Enterprise.
Doesn't make him manly. He didn't have a beard. He had no hair on his head at all. So anyway, I have the tea. It smells delicious. It tastes delicious. It's manly tea. So it's called Lapsang, Lapsang, and you can find it all over the internet. So anyway, we had mic problems this week. I had people asking me last week, say, hey, Zach, give us a tour of the homestead on video. We want a video of you walking around the homestead and showing us the layout and everything of the homestead. I said, okay. And I had a bunch of people asking about that. And once somebody asked, a bunch of other people, chimed in and said, yeah, that's a great idea. And so I went out to go do that this week, and my microphone broke. I have a little mic that we attach to our ear that it's kind of like we have mic issues on this homestead. And the only way we're going to upgrade our mic is to upgrade our camera. And right now we're filming everything with a Note 5, Samsung Note 5, which is an excellent camera, a 4K camera. However, the issue is that it does not have very good audio inputs. And so that's where we're at right now. So I ordered a new mic. It should be here, going to be here. In fact, I ordered a new mic last week when it broke, and then it came and it didn't fit. So I ordered a new one. Hopefully it'll be here in a few days. And then we will give a tour of the homestead. All that to say, we will give a tour of the homestead. It's really warm lately. We had a mild winter last year, and this winter we had some days where I got down to single digits, but man, I'm really hoping it's going to come back and
it's going to get cold again.
I mean, it is winter. It's going to get here. It will. I just don't like the heat. That was one of the reasons I met her in Florida. I was going to college. I met her in Florida. And I could not. I was there like 3.5 years for college. And when I graduated, I couldn't wait to get back home to Missouri because I could not stand this. There's no seasons in Florida. And so it feels like you never age, which is not a good thing.
You have to put on sweaters sometimes.
Barely. I mean, barely. I think one time it got down to like 27 degrees or something like that. One time in Orlando. And it just wasn't, I couldn't stand being in Florida. It just didn't get hot. It didn't get cold. So I had to go back to, I had to go back where there's actually seasons. And so I mentioned to Big Bear on his show in the chat, I said, we ordered banana trees this spring because I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube about how to preserve banana trees in Canada. So there's people who live in the Pacific Northwest, right there. It's in Vancouver area up there. And I guess they don't get very cold up there in Canada. That's like the part of Canada that doesn't get very cold at all. And they have banana trees up there, and they show how you preserve them on YouTube. You can find how to preserve banana trees. And I'm like, dude, if they can grow banana trees in Canada, I can grow them here. So that's what we did. Me and Jamie have decided we're really going to try to work on our landscaping around the houses this year. She's collecting, because her thing is Pinterest. She's collected a whole thing on Pinterest of landscaping ideas.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to use some, because we have a manufactured home. We've never actually skirted our manufactured home. I know, shame. And we've had people say, oh, you're going to freeze in the winter and the air's, the wind's going to go right under there and you're going to freeze in the winter. We've never had a problem with that. Our home stays nice and toasty in the winter, even with it unskirted. But we really want to get it done because it's an eyesore. It's always something that we've wanted to do. So we're going to try to tackle that this year.
Matt Damon, 354 says, preserving banana trees sounds like witchcraft. So that's cool. We got a guy from Hollywood, Matt Damon. You're really famous. I'm glad you could tune into the show. Maybe that's Matt Damon. Or maybe it's spelled differently. Anyway, it's not witchcraft. People really do preserve banana trees, and they get by with that. So every year you have to hack it down and hack all the leaves off as best you can. And then basically you cover it with bubble wrap and mulch all the way to the top, and it's good to go. So we'll see. You guys, our thing is like, we're not gonna say that this works unless we've actually tried it. Yeah.
So we haven't tried it yet. We're gonna see.
And I mean, there's certain banana trees you can do that are really heat tolerant, but they don't produce like edible bananas. But we're gonna go with, it's called a California Gold banana tree. That's what we went with. And we'll be getting them in probably the spring, and 3 of them. We're going to do 3 of them starting out. So I'm going to dig gigantic holes, fill it with amazingly nutrient-dense soil, and then we're going to grow some bananas.
Yeah.
Unless it doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, there's always that.
Yeah. I'm going to do a video coming up soon. We got the Homestead box. A lot of people are talking about the Homestead box. I think when new companies come out with products that are marketing towards the Homestead community, they send it out to all the Homestead YouTube channels. And so, excuse me, we, along with like a bazillion other YouTube channels, got the Homestead box in the mail. And I don't even remember. I remember the guy emailed me, and then I never even replied to him. But he got my address somehow and sent me the box anyway. And I thought it was a good box. I thought it was full of things that I could definitely use. I could always use a new hatchet, so they sent me a hatchet. And I'm going to use it on an axe. It has to be a 100-year-old axe head. It's a Kelly axe head, double-sided, double-bladed, that Tim had gotten when he was younger. And I'm not sure what the full history is behind it. We'll try to do that for the video. And I'm going to restore it. We're going to do a restoration on that. And I've been watching Wrangler Star. It's going to be Ode to Wrangler Star, video. Because that's what he does best. I mean, he's known for restoring old tools like that. And so we're going to do a restoration on that axe blade. And then, if you remember some of our older videos, where we get our wood chips, there is an old 18th century woods mill not that far from our place, and we get our wood chips there, and they make hickory handles. And I think their first machine, or they still have a machine in use there that makes hickory axe handles that was brought in the 1800s by steam engine to Springfield, Missouri, and they had to go up there with oxen and bring it from, with oxen, an ox cart, all the way back to Northwest Arkansas from Springdale. And so that machine is still in use. So he's going to give me a tour. The owner of that plant is going to give me a tour, and he's going to provide the new axe handle for that blade restoration. So I thought that's pretty cool. That video, we're going to start that this week. It's maple syrup time, and we're out of maple syrup jars. I got to figure out what to do about that.
Yeah, because you put the sorghum in it.
I put the sorghum in it. So we're going to have to figure out how, I don't know, I'm going to have to order some maple jars real quick. I found some online. There's a lot of places where you can order maple jars, but I don't want to get the 8 ounce. I think 8 ounce. Anyway, just like last year, whatever maple syrup we harvest this year, we'll send out to the patrons. We'll see what happens.
Why can't we just put it in mason jars?
You can, but it's going to be in mason jars. And mason jars is a whole pint. I mean, are you want to do half pints? Can we do half pints?
Why not?
How many ounces is a half pint?
8.
That's still 8 ounces. I'd like to do like 6 ounces. Because I want to give as many out to the patrons as possible. And if I have 8 ounces, I don't know.
Well, we can get the, I don't know. What's the 4 ounce jar called? I forget if it even has a name.
A 4 ounce jar?
There's a 4 ounce mason jar.
Never heard of that. I don't know.
It's the same size as a baby food jar.
I have no idea. Anyway, maple syrup season is upon us. I got an email, or a neighbor came over the other day and told us that he thinks the maple syrup was starting to run. One of the straps, he has tied his deer stand to a maple tree, and it was starting to run. So I think we're there, and it's early. Usually January 15th, tomorrow, is when I would start to be getting ready to get this going. But so it's just early. Northwest Arkansas, we have a very short maple season, so you got to be on it. Anyway, that's next on the list this week, and hopefully we'll do some video on that. We've been working in the garden. I've been working on getting the soil ready, spreading out wood chips. I put about 6 to 4 inches of wood chips down on most of the garden again. We did our peach tree pruning this year. I pruned a bunch of peach trees, and I had a guy email me and told me, he says, Zach, if you prune your peach trees, you can a lot of times root those out. And our peach tree, the peach tree like we have that I did this week, is not from a graft. It's not from a graft. It's from a seed. And it's a good peach tree. My neighbor has the tree that the seed came from that started our peach tree, and every year it's loaded with peaches. And I'm like, where'd you get your tree? And he said from a peach seed. So he grew his from a seed as well. So we have the tree was pruned, and we got all the clippings, and we're going to try to root them out and see how it works. I planted garlic this last week, and people think that's crazy to plant garlic in January, but last year I planted garlic in January, and the garlic turned out magnificent. So, why ruin what works? So I planted garlic in January, and we'll see how that works out. And then sunchokes. Big Bear was talking about sunchokes, and that it gives you gas. Ours have given us gas, at least me.
Yeah, they were being really upfront and honest about their problem. We don't eat them raw. We think maybe that's because they were eating them raw. I like to make soup with them. This
year we have a bunch of sunchokes, and they have escaped their confinement in the garden. So the thing about sunchokes you have to remember, guys, is if you have sunchokes, they will escape. It doesn't matter. I'm not kidding you. I planted sunchokes in one little spot inside of a raised bed, and about 50 feet away, I have sunchokes coming up this last year. 50, 60 feet away. They're coming up. And I dug down this winter at that 50, 60 feet away place, and there's just gigantic sunchokes there. And so, the spread is never going to stop. They're going to take over my whole garden. I probably shouldn't have planted them there. But I have enough now that I can transplant them and probably relocate them to the field that I want to tear up and plant them in permanently. However, what I'm going to have to do is lay down some really thick, heavy cardboard and paper and wood chips on top of the area they're growing, so that they end up dying and they're not allowed to continue to grow. I don't even know if that will stop them. But what caught my ear tonight was when Big Bear, and by the way, Big Bear Homestead will be on later. You know, we're the Late Late Show. They're going to be the Insomnia Patrol that comes on after our show. If you can go back to their channel, but they said when they roasted them that they tasted sweet because of the inulin inside of sunchokes. They're high in inulin. And so that's different than insulin, but they're very good for diabetics.
Which would make sense because of the fiber. You know, okay, so they had their gas problem.
It's because they can't digest inulin.
Yeah. Okay, if you're, I'm just putting this out there. If you ever have a constipation problem, eat the sunchokes.
But
I've never seen anything that works better. I mean, even prunes.
Yeah, it will move you along.
Yes, it does.
I think they're really good. So here's the deal.
They are really good, but that's a byproduct.
Yeah. So what's really interesting about this is that they said that when they roasted them, they sweetened up. Well, when you roast a sunchoke, it breaks down that inulin and brings out the sugars of the inulin so you can taste it. Okay, and that is what you, my friends, you can turn into alcohol. So the idea is, the research I have done says that sunchokes, 1 acre of sunchokes will yield about 600 gallons of ethanol, whereas an acre of corn only brings about 300 gallons of alcohol or ethanol. So you're getting about double the amount of ethanol. It has double the amount of fuel production than corn does. So if you're looking for an alternative way to make your own fuel on your homestead, sunchokes are the way to go. I'm going to really try this. And because we have a fuel distiller's license, we can do it legally. We've done videos on that in the past. If you're interested, you can look for those. Look for the clawhammer supply videos that we have on our YouTube channel. But I'm going to try to make fuel out of our sunchokes. I'm going to do it. And if it ever becomes legal, I'm going to try to make what's called, in Germany, they call it Topinamber, which is the distilled liquor drink that they make out of sunchokes. So really interesting that she said that. It's an experiment I've been wanting to do. I'm going to try it this year. I'm loaded down with sunchokes, and we're going to use them to plant for the next year in one of our fields. Let's see. I made our bazillion squirrel episode. We killed a bazillion squirrels. Or how you can kill a bazillion squirrels on your homestead if you need to. If they're attacking your garden or getting into a crawl space or an attic. If you need to get rid of a squirrel or a bunch of squirrels, we just came out with that video, how to kill a bazillion squirrels. And beehives, if you're interested, beehives are still available on the Homestead website, on our website at AmericanHomestead.com. If you want to do bees this spring, and if you need trays, the trays that come with it, let me know. We'll talk on the phone, and I'll try to get those to you. Just let me know in an email. But beehives, if you're interested in starting bees for the first time ever, excuse me, let me know, and we'll get a beehive out to you. And I think Monday, this is the end of my what do we do this week or what are we going to do this week list. Monday, I think we're going to butcher that sheep out there.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to have meat for the table. Woohoo!
But we're going to can most of it.
I know, but ribs.
I know.
I love sheep ribs or deer ribs, venison ribs or lamb ribs. I love those. If you make them right, they're excellent. They taste excellent. So last week, I didn't get to a story. All that to say, let's start on some of these stories real quick. Wow, I'm really having some issues tonight with my throat. The Camels Milk. So if you go to offthegridnews.com, there's a link in the description below. It says, now big government is coming down on raw camel's milk. And here's a story out of Springfield, Missouri, which isn't far from us. Shipping raw camel's milk across state lines is apparently a crime in the United States, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration threatened a Missouri farmer because he did just that. Sam Hostetler can sell raw camel's milk to his neighbors in southwest Missouri, but he cannot ship it out to out-of-state customers. Man. We can sell it all we want in Missouri and nobody cares, Hostetler said, who is Amish, told the Springfield News Leader. Raw camel's milk isn't cheap and sells for upwards of $8 a pint.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. although people who buy it in bulk get it at a discount. There's a lot of people in this country that will drive a ways and pay good money for raw milk, Hostetler said. So I'm just thinking, $8 a pint. What is that a gallon?
Well, there's 2 pints in a quart, and there's 4 quarts in a gallon. So that's what? 8 pints in a gallon.
So 8 times 8.
64.
$64 a gallon for Camels Milk. That's insane.
I think that's right. You math whizzes out there, you can check that.
Is that right?
Zach is really horrible at math, so he looks at me and expects me to figure it out.
I'm bringing my calculator on the computer. Calculator.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
So there's how many? 8 pints in a quart?
No, there's 2 pints in a quart.
And 4 quarts.
4 quarts in a gallon.
So 8
that
times
would
8
mean
is
8. Yes, 8 times 8 is
$64 for a gallon of Camel's Milk, which I don't know. It can't. It's not a clean animal, or at least for us, it ain't clean. I'm not drinking Camel's Milk.
I really am not a big milk drinker at all, so I can't imagine.
I love cow's milk. In fact, our neighbor's cow got mastitis about a week ago, and so they're bringing her back up from that. And that was another thing. So our neighbor's cow got mastitis, and so when something like that happens, they had to treat her not with antibiotics, but with this other cream that they put up inside of the teat to get rid of the bacteria that was in there. What did people do 100 years ago to treat mastitis? It sounded like from him and his research that what he had figured out was a cow's udder has 4 parts, okay? And so 4 quarters. And so basically if 1 quarter gets mastitis, well, it's just gone. You don't get milk from there anymore. It just basically it dies and becomes unusable and just doesn't produce milk anymore. And so my question was, maybe some of you guys out there know what the answer to this question is what did people do 100 years ago and for mastitis? When something like that happened, what did they do? I mean, you couldn't go to the vet and get whatever cream or antibiotics. So, and the reason mastitis is caused is because when you milk a cow, the nipple opening remains open for like 15 minutes. It can be open a little bit. And so if the cow goes and lays down, in the stall or wherever there's bacteria present, bacteria can get up into that teat and then begin to, spread an infection. So it obviously happened back 100 years ago, 200 years ago. What did people do for mastitis, and how did they treat it?
Well, I'm just speaking as a woman who has breastfed a child, and I've never had it, although I know a lot of women get it. I feel lucky that I never did. They'll give them antibiotics, I think, is what they do. Maybe someone can correct me, but usually if you were to handle it naturally, I guess you would eat a lot of probiotics, and I think maybe there's some teas that you can drink.
All right, well, they didn't have that back 100 years, 200 years ago either, so...
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the question. And my neighbor didn't know either, and he's interested too, so we're really trying to figure this out. Because, we have a milk cow. Some of you guys know, we have a milk cow. She's about 5 months old now, and... she's going to be, at some point, she's going to be bred, and she's going to provide our family milk. Yeah, she's a beautiful Jersey.
I think what Teresa is saying is, you clean the udders and you milk as much as you can. Like, that's what they would say for a woman, too. Like, just keep the milk coming out. Okay,
so, because I know there's people out there who only milk what they want.
Right, so maybe they're not milking enough. From experience talking with them before, they would only milk once a day. So I don't know if they're doing that anymore, or maybe that's a problem of not milking more than once a day.
Yeah. Huh. Anyway, so it just blows my mind. $64 a gallon for... Hey guys, if you're interested in Camel's Milk, you can pay $64 a gallon in Springfield, Missouri.
Well, if you buy it in bulk, you get a discount.
Discount.
So maybe a gallon
Maybe
would be buying
$40
in bulk.
a gallon. Yeah. You might get $40 a gallon. Woohoo! Deal.
Stop.
It has 3 times the amount of vitamin C, almost 10 times the amount of iron, and almost half the amount of fat. Abdul Wahab told CNBC Desert Farms has around 100,000 customers. This is a farm out in Saudi Arabia where people have been drinking camel's milk, it says, for centuries. So anyway, yeah, camel's milk. But the issue was, it says here, another reason that people drink camel's milk, let's see, I'm trying to look for the part where the FDA gets involved. Oh, despite that, Hostetler received a letter in December from the FDA telling him that distributing raw camel's milk across state lines was a violation of federal law. Such distribution is a violation of a Public Health Service Act, the letter said. Hostetler complied with their wishes. He can still sell it in Missouri as long as it is directly to customers. They told us we got to quit, so we're going to quit, Hostetler said of the FDA. So, there's terrorists and Russian hackers and, all kinds of crazy things going on in this world today. And I'm so glad our federal government is coming down on the lowly and despicable camel milk distributors in Springfield, Missouri. I feel a lot safer. I just thought you guys would enjoy that article. You can find the link in the description below. It's over at offthegridnews.com. Oh, let's see what's next. So what are your top... So here's the thing. We're going to be doing a video coming out here in the next few weeks. We're going to put it together. Me and Tim are going to come up with a list. And it's going to be the top 10 tools for the homestead. What do you think for a homestead should be the top 10 tools every homestead should have? Okay, it can be a tractor, it can be an axe, it can be. We already have an idea of some of the tools we want to put on that list. But what would you put on that list? What would be your top items to put on that list? And we'll talk about it in the chat at the end of the show. We'll give me about. I have another story I want to go through here. Me and Jamie are going to talk about, but we'll talk about it in the chat. And stay tuned till the end of the show. We're going to give away another T-shirt at the end of the show if you can successfully answer the trivia question that I give you. So the next story is 121 skills for the modern homesteader. I thought we'd go through this list. This is, again, by Jill Winger over at theprairiehomestead.com. I'm liking her articles. She's got some good articles. And so 121 skills for the modern homesteader. Some of these, I think, apply to different people because people homestead in different ways, as we've talked about a lot here on this show and on our channel and on our blog. So I thought, milk a goat, cow, that's number 1, she says on here. Composting both kitchen scraps and animal manure. We do some of that here.
I don't really think that they're in any specific order.
I don't think so either. I'm not saying it's number 1, milk a goat, cow, or sheep. And it says, keep in mind, no one person will likely master all these skills, and some just aren't applicable to certain situations. And it says, I sadly won't ever be harvesting maple syrup from my homestead. I know that, but hopefully you can pick and choose some ideas to inspire you. So what caught me was number 4, learn how to cook a whole chicken. Because I think one of the things we talked about over and over again is how to cook.
I have a really funny memory. And it happens every time we butcher a chicken. And I always think of this. I had a friend of mine, and I love her dearly, even though she doesn't talk to me anymore. I still really love her. And we had some good times together, but I think she probably thinks I'm crazy now because of this lifestyle. Anyway,
she didn't like the fact that I own guns.
Well, but also I think she's probably gone.
She's a left bleeding heart liberal.
Yeah, she doesn't understand why we would even have this life. So anyway, but she used to say that she would never cook a whole chicken. Like, she would only buy chicken breasts already cut up at the store, because cooking a whole chicken, handling a whole chicken reminded her of the actual chicken, and she couldn't deal with that. And I don't know. It makes me sad for her. Like, I just can't imagine living my life that way with saying that I can't do something because of this feeling I have.
Well, I mean, not only
like,
that.
I'm just going to conquer the feeling.
Right. But not only that, I think it's one of the things that is really going to help you out in life. Not only from just a personal point of view, but also from a financial point of view, is learning how to cook. I mean, you know how much money people spend eating out all the time? And we know people who are just addicted to eating out all the time. They eat out all the time. And guys, I mean, if you just learn how to cook, you know how much that will benefit you into saving money, into just personal aspects.
Well, not only that, like, there are people who say that they know how to cook, but all they really know how to do is cook from processed foods.
Right.
So if you can just learn how to cook from scratch.
All right, heating up a can of SpaghettiOs is not cooking.
Yeah, but I'm not even saying that easy. I'm saying like cooking with, I don't know, hamburger helper. Or listen, I know life gets crazy and I know it's hard to get dinner on the table sometimes. I'm not trying to come down on anybody. I'm just saying that when it comes to your health and as well as saving money, there's so many reasons to learn to cook from scratch.
Yeah.
So many.
Not only that, but I mean, by raising your own food, your own chickens, things like that, it's food on the hoof. If you want it, you go get it. Like this week, I really want to get me some more meat, and I want to have. I'm hankering some more ribs, and so I'm going to go out there. I'm going to butcher. I have a sheep that's on the hoof, and we're going to butcher that sheep, and it's going to be good. So we're doing that this week. Number 5 was good too. Grow a vegetable garden in your climate as one of the skills for a modern homestead. I think every homestead, you really can't be a homestead unless you have some sort of garden. You're growing something. I just don't know how you can be a homestead without growing something. And I mean, you can. There's no way to define homestead really, but growing a vegetable garden, I think, and watching life happen the way it does when plants come alive in the springtime, and you grow these things and you care for these plants, and they bring out so much food for you and your family. It's an amazing life lesson, and it's a skill that every modern homestead should have. Let's see, what else we got here? Know how to properly prune and graft a fruit tree. I've never grafted a fruit tree. I'm not so much interested in grafts because I feel like it's kind of cheating. And I know a lot of people do the grafting, but I just, that was the thing. When I planted the peach tree that I mentioned earlier in my garden, I got that from a neighbor. And the neighbor got it from a seed. He had grown up. One of the peaches had fallen from his peach tree, and it got into the ground. And a year later, it sprang up, and it was its own peach tree. So I brought it home. He gave it to me. He said, "Hey, take that, dig it up, and take it home." And I planted it. And I went back to him later on asking, "Hey, is this from a graft? Because if it's from a graft, it might not do so well." He says, "I'm like, where did you get your peach tree?" He said, "From a seed." So there's just something to be said about sticking to the original, the way it was intended to work. And his tree is loaded with peaches every year. And the fact, that was one of the first things. We moved in, and him and his wife gave us a jar of peaches.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
They were really good peaches. And ever since then, we desired to have our own peach trees. But I don't want to really learn how to graft. I mean, I guess it'd probably be okay to do that, but I want to grow stuff from seed and have it be successful from seed. I don't know. I'll learn more about it. But that's one of the ones she has listed here. Let's see. Know how to dehydrate foods to preserve for later use. We've done that here.
Yeah, we've done a lot of these.
Give animal an injection, the muscle in the vein or under the skin. So there's different types of. Let's see. Assist with foaling, kidding, lambing, or calving. We've done that a little bit. That's animal husbandry. Know how to assist an animal with a difficult birth. I've never done that, thank goodness. I pick my animals because I try to get animals that aren't going to have that issue. Learn how to safely cut down a tree. I've cut down a lot of trees since we've been here. Make perfect sausage gravy from scratch. We don't eat sausage, but you can still make gravy from scratch. You've done that plenty of times.
I make gravy all the time.
So, know how to drive a manual transmission or a tractor. Done. I grew up on manual transmission. Learn basic metalworking skills and welding. Have not done that yet. Master basic mechanic skills so you can fix your tractors and vehicles. Been working on my tractors and vehicles since we got here. That's not a problem. Change a tire and change oil. I've been changing oil and changing tires since we got here. Learn how to hunt wild game, both large and small. That's number 19. We've been doing that since we got here too. So this is a whole list of some amazing things. So one on here, use a smoker to smoke cheeses. That would be awesome. We have a smokehouse. We have not. I bought a block of cheese a few weeks ago, back when it was really cold, and my intention was to smoke it in the smokehouse when it was like in the teens outside.
I know, but you never did.
I didn't do it. So it's if it ever gets cold again, we'll try to do that. But it's early still. February's coming, folks. Most of these things we've done here on the homestead, I'm trying to learn how to make yogurt. Now, there is a girl who we know in town. Her name's Mallory, and I know she doesn't listen to the show, but she makes the most amazing yogurt, and Jamie really likes it. So
yeah, I used to make yogurt all the time, and it's really not hard. We just don't have our own milk yet, so it's not worth it for me to buy milk just to make yogurt. If we ever buy milk, it's raw milk, and we get it from our neighbor. But the boys drink it. It's gone.
Yeah. We love our raw milk, and I love yogurt, like real yogurt made from raw milk. I mean, it's so healthy for you too.
Yeah.
It's really good. So, anyway, she's offered once we start getting our cow and she gets her cow, and she said, hey, if Jamie wants to come over and see how I make it, because Jamie likes it so much, it is really good. It's really good. Like, Jamie will get it and she'll put like raisins. Don't you put like raisins?
No, I hate raisins.
Well, what'd you put in there? Like, was it fig? It was fig.
No.
Remember, I brought those figs home.
I hate figs too.
No, dates. I'm sorry, dates.
You don't even know. You have no idea.
I meant to say dates. I knew it was something chewy and sweet. So she puts dates. She cuts up these dates and she puts it in the yogurt.
Yeah, it's the Medjool dates, Medjol. If you are familiar with dates, you know these kind of dates. They're really really sweet.
And just for the record, I love figs. She doesn't like the figs.
I don't like figs.
I love
it's
the figs.
A texture thing for me.
We're gonna grow a lot more figs on this homestead because I think we can sell them. Anyway, it's the dates. We haven't made our own soap really here.
We haven't needed to make our own soap. Everyone gives us soap.
Yeah.
I think soap is such a popular homesteading thing, and that, when people come to visit or they think of us, they bring their own homemade soap along. So it's been really cool. We've gotten to sample a lot of different kinds of soap. But
learn how to candle eggs so you can tell if they're fertilized.
Okay.
I guess it's holding up. You put a light.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my dad's arena.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he
does the chickens. But I've always just done it. You float the egg in water and see if it's good or bad. Put the egg in water.
You're talking about whether it's spoiled.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is if it's fertilized.
Well, I know, but I don't know how to do that. I've never done that.
No.
That
would be different.
Tim knows how. Her dad does the chicken stuff. But, I mean, I've done, if an egg is spoiled, you see if they're good by putting it in water. Trim the feet of your goats and sheep. We have done that quite a bit. Learn how to build and fix fence. We've done that. I don't know if we do it all that great. Learn how to tan a hide. We've done that. I do fleshing my own hides. I don't do tanning because, folks, I mean, I've experimented with brain tanning and oak tanning. And to be totally honest, none of them I don't think produces near the result as chemical tanning does. A chemical tan just looks so much better. And it's so much more soft. I just send it away and pay the $20, $30, whatever it costs, because it just looks so good afterwards. But I do all my own fleshing and skinning, and then I just send it off. So anyway, that's the list. If you're interested in more, you can go to theprairiehomestead.com and just look for 101 modern homesteading skills on Google, and it'll come right up. Or you can look for the link in the description below. It's there. You can click on it from there. So let's go back over to the chat room and let's see what all the deal is. We've talked about a lot of stuff, Camels Milk, and all kinds of top 10 tools. So we're going to start off with what you think are the top 10 tools that a homestead should have. And real quick, before we get into that, if anyone has used Nixall, I'm still looking for anyone who has a testimony on Nixall. Nixall, Nixall. It's from a company that is from Nixall, Missouri. And supposedly Nixall is created when they take titanium and they smash it together in water. It changes the molecular structure of the water, and it is amazingly harmful to bacteria and viruses. It'll kill everything, and it's even safe to drink because it's water. It's just changed the molecular structure of water to be inhospitable to bacteria and viruses. And so they can't say that it's good to drink on their website because the FDA will come down on them like a ton of bricks. Excuse me. But Nixall, I'm looking for people who have experience with Nixall. People use it for their farm animals and other things. But I've heard it also is great for anyone who has any type of infection in the blood or anything else. You can drink it or put it in your veins intravenously, things like that. I'm just interested in thinking and learning more about it. So I'm going to call the company here and see what they say. Because what I'm really interested in is one of their products that they use for disinfectant. It seems like it's safe to drink because they give it to farm animals. But it says it's only good for 30 days. It only has a 30-day shelf life. Well, why? I mean, if I want to buy something like that, can I get something that's got a little bit longer shelf life? So anyway, back to the 10 tools for Homestead. I see right now we have a good canner. Would that be one of the top 10 tools for a homestead?
Yeah, I would. Are you talking about food preparation tools, or are you talking about working the land tools?
If you had to start your homestead with 10 things, what 10 things? I mean, you can get things later, but if you had top 10 things you could start your homestead with.
Yeah, well,
because we started with very little.
Canner would be on the list for me. Also, a water purifier.
Huh.
I would think in the kitchen, those are probably my first two important things.
Scott Hutzlar, good to see you guys. Scott makes very good gumbo, and him and his wife make very good gumbo, by the way. He says a maul, a splitting maul. And I don't know about a maul, but definitely an axe, good axe. Maybe a maul, yeah. I would say, out here, I would think a pick. You definitely want a pick. But chainsaw, I think that would be one of mine, top 10 too, chainsaw. Farm alarm says Bible. Well, I got one of those. That goes without saying. I'm looking for tools that's going to help me build stuff. Meredith says a big bank account. That always helps. Not always possible. Jars, tractor, chainsaw, wood stove, canner, wood stove. Tractor, I think, would be excellent. A shovel. Shovel's good. I can use my hands for the shovel. If I only get 10 tools, I would go with a pick, like a Maddox pick. Garden tools. Garden tools are overrated. I use my hands. I do have some garden tools, but I can get by without them. I would start with a welder. Matt Damon again from Hollywood says I would start with a welder since I'm more familiar with working with steel than wood. David Bogan says a smokehouse. I don't know. I mean, for preserving meat, I guess a smokehouse would be okay. Shotgun, rifle, pick, shovel, cast iron pan, knife, axe. This is all from Rick Ballard. Saw, hammer, saw. He mentioned saw twice, so I think he really wants a saw. Mattock, axe, maul, hammer, brace, and bit. Root cellar, is that a tool? Not really a tool, Catherine, but that's pretty good. A small skid loader is way handy. I would have to agree. If a tractor with a front loader would be good as well. In fact, we are really getting close to a point. I think we're going to be getting a dozer with a bucket loader on it. So I have a friend of ours who's been helping us with our homestead since we moved in. I've gotten to know him. He's from town, and he's in his upper 80s. And his wife is telling him to get rid of things. And so he has agreed to sell us his dozer. It's a Alice Chalmers D7 dozer for $1,500. And I said, yes, sir, I will take that. It needs a couple parts, easy to find. I'm going to try to find the parts and then get this thing after I get paid with my tax return here at some point soon. But really looking at getting a Dozer D7 for the Homestead. Got about 10 minutes left. Those are all good things, so we'll take those into account. Guys, if you have Homestead channels and Homestead blogs, be a really good thing to write about. What you think are the top 10 homesteading tools for someone just starting out a homestead. If you had to start out on a brand new homestead and you had the option of getting 10 tools, what were the 10 tools that you think you would want? And a tractor, vehicles, things like that count as well. So I think that counts. A truck and a tractor, things like that are definitely tools for the homestead. Let's see. So we did a T-shirt giveaway about a month ago, I think. And the guy I gave the T-shirt, I told him, you won the T-shirt, you have to send me a message on YouTube. And he never did. I kept looking and looking and looking. I think it was called his name was Tactical something. I don't think, is he here tonight? I haven't seen him in the chat room. But who won the T-shirt last time? I don't remember who it was. So if anybody in the chat room knows who won the T-shirt last time, let me know. I think it was Tactical something or other. I don't remember what his name was. But we're going to give away a T-shirt. I have not been able to get a hold of that guy. He has not sent me a message with his address. So we're going to give away another T-shirt. But you have to answer the trivia question. So here's the trivia question. The first person who can give me the answer to the trivia question wins the T-shirt. So are you ready? Is everyone ready? Now you have to give me the answer. The answer is, I'll tell you what the answer here in a minute, but it's going to be, I need the day, the month, and the year the original Homestead Act was passed. The first one who posts it correctly gets the T-shirt. The day, the month, and the year the original Homestead Act was passed. You must post the day and the month and the year that it was signed into law. The day and the month and the year the original Homestead Act was passed. Waiting for an answer. Who will it be? Who will win an American Homestead T-shirt?
So those of us who are not as familiar with history as you, what is the Homestead Act?
I can't tell you until someone answers. May 20th, 1862. It was close. There's a bunch of people. Jim Handfling wins. Jim Handfling won. Very good. Jim Handfling. Congratulations. We'll get to it in a second here. I'll answer Jamie's question. But Jim, I got to look back up. Jim Handfling, go ahead and send me your address. Send me a message on YouTube from our YouTube page. Send me a message with your address, and I will get that to you in the mail. But send me a message with your address. So people are gonna have to Google it. And people did. Quick Google it. All right, Jim Handfling wins. Congratulations, Jim. And he's like, woohoo! And we'll get that to you in the mail. Please, you might not ship to Australia. He's in Australia? You're really? He's in Australia. I'll ship it to you in Australia. Good gravy. Tim does all the shipping around here. He's going to love that one.
Yeah, he's going to.
Can't you come here to get your T-shirt? So just send me your address. We will get this to you in the mail. We'll find the cheapest, slowest method of transport that we possibly can. It may show up in 6 months, but via shipping, via the ocean. But we'll get it to you. All right. Send me your address. All right. Let's see. We got the Homestead Act. I can't find. Let me go back and.
When I was a kid, I grew up in Papua New Guinea, so my family would send boxes from the U.S. And seriously, sometimes we would call it, they must have gotten on a slow boat, because sometimes it would take 6 months to get a package. But that was in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, and when I was back in the 90s too, and living in Germany when I was in the military, I mean, things took forever to cross the ocean. I think everything went by ocean ship back then. It was really expensive to get something to fly by plane. So the Homestead Act, signed into law May 20th, 1862, the Homestead Act opened up settlements in the western United States, allowing any American, including freed slaves, to put in a claim for up to 160 free acres of federal land. By the end of the Civil War, 15,000 homestead claims had been established and more followed in the post-war years. Eventually, 1.6 million individual claims would be approved, nearly 10% of all government-held property, for a total of 420,000 square miles of territory. It set in motion a program of public land grants to small farmers. Before the Civil War, the southern states had regularly voted against homestead legislation because they correctly foresaw that the law would hasten the settlement of Western territory, ultimately adding to the number and political influence of the free states. The opposition of the Homestead Bill, as well as to other internal improvements that could hasten Western settlement, exacerbated sectional conflicts. Indeed, the vision of independent yeomen, yeah. Establishing homesteads on the prairies was offered in the political rhetoric of the 1850s as a vivid contrast to the degradation of slave labor on southern plantations. A homestead bill passed in the House in 1858, but was defeated by one vote in the Senate. The next year, a similar bill passed both houses, but was vetoed by President James Buchanan. In 1860, the Republican platform included a plank advocating homestead legislation. So, I guess my point, I thought it was kind of a good topic, and we've got only a few minutes left here before it goes over to the Big Bear Homestead and the Insomnia Patrol. But do you know how much acres the federal government owns today? It's like up in the hundreds of millions of acres again. I forgot what it is, but it's unbelievable. They've been basically slowly taking all this land back. I think it's time for another Homestead Act. What do you think? Anyway, congratulations to Jim, who won the t-shirt. Folks, again, if you're interested in watching or listening to our show in the car or on podcast, you can go to your favorite browser and Google YouTube MP3 downloader and download the show that way and listen to it in your car. I really appreciate you guys tuning in every single week. We got a lot of videos, good videos coming up soon, so I hope you'll tune in for those. A lot of great content coming up. So if you're interested in more of our videos, you can check us out at the Homestead or AnAmericanHomestead.com. That's our website. But if you're interested in other great homesteading channels, you can check them out over at thehomesteadnetwork.com and go to Showtimes and see all the amazing homestead channels there. So, all right, guys, had a great show with you tonight. We'll be back next week, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. We'll see you then. Have a good evening.